Hi, I'm Ivan Fornoles. I'm based on Manila, Philippines, and I'm a UI/UX designer with SetSchedule. A UI/UX designer is responsible for everything that you see or experience on a digital platform, whether be it a website, a web app, or a mobile app. So UI/UX stands for user interface and user experience. UI, which is user interface, focuses on the aesthetics or how the platform would look like. UX, on the other hand, which is user experience, focuses more on would it be user friendly, would it be usable, would it be easy to use, or would it be functional or beneficial for the users. So I want to share how the design process goes. First thing in the process is the creation of the concept, brainstorming, planning, making of the concept, the vision, the mission, and the goal of the project. Then we proceed to design and planning on how we would execute it or how we would want it to look like. And then it goes hand in hand with market research on how these components or these elements or this whole project would be expected to work. I usually work with product managers and owners, designers, other designers, and developers as well. Product manager or owner explains to me the vision of the project or the product, and then on my part I illustrate it, I create some draft designs, submit it to him. Then if the draft designs are aligned to the vision or the product owner or manager approves the draft designs, then we proceed to the final designing. Next step would be passing it along to the developers. The software that I use in UI/UX design is Adobe XD. It's an easy to use platform. It's easy for me to work with other designers, collaborate on projects. And for graphic designing or photo editing, I use Photoshop. And then for creating vectors or icons, I use Illustrator. The primary thing that I'm really excited about in designing is making things aesthetically pleasing or making everything look beautiful. That's the part that I really enjoy doing. One of the projects that I'm currently working on right now is the Community App 3.0 version. This is something that's been really exciting to work on, having something to build on and spending time to think and brainstorm on what we can still improve with what we have. Also, one of the projects that I'm working on is for the website of the 3.0 version, specifically the careers page. With this specific project, personally, I have the freedom to be creative and to design from scratch. And so I get to be as creative as I can be. One of the things that I normally do before designing is looking at platforms that have cool and awesome designs. So I use them as reference for what I'm about to create. And that's where I start to assemble the designs of what I'll be working on. So if I see a cool design from this specific item and then I see another cool design from another item, then I try to combine what I can adapt or what I can get from all of those and try to be creative and unique and try to create one of my own. So I started with SetSchedule handling different projects, but when I started being involved in the community app, I started working on one or two or three projects or features, and then I started to get more involved by working with the other designer. Eventually I came to a point where now I am 100% involved in every design that we work on in the community app. Well, it's been a long journey personally. it took a lot of getting involved with the other designer and then having meetings with product owners and with our execs as well. Just really trying to get the grasp of the mission and vision behind the community application, which is the most important. And the second most important would be figuring out how we would be able to make those into different features to make it useful for our users. The first thing we do when we review feedback is checking them for priority. So, because we want to be organized in handling all those feedbacks, right? The next thing would be we consider if this would be aligned with our goal, with the mission and vision of the product, and then is it something that would be useful to our users. Then we decide which version we want this to include or we want this to apply in, because we don't want to make sudden huge changes that would just cause confusion or hindrance or difficulties for our users to understand. We want to introduce features step by step. We don't want to make big changes all of a sudden. Yeah, so I have 3 points for people who are thinking of jumping into the UI UX or other design field. Number 1 is keep learning, because learning never stops, right? And you can learn from anywhere or from anything, especially anything that you do, be it small things or big things in your life. Keep studying if you need to self-study or enroll in an online course or use platforms like YouTube or online materials that you don't necessarily have to pay for. Number 2 is keep practicing, because as we say, practice makes perfect. When you keep on practicing and working on your craft, that's when you'll embrace your passion and you'll realize that you really love what you do and you enjoy every second doing it. And then you will get to a point where it becomes natural for you with what you're doing. You enjoy, you love every second of it, and you strive to be better. Number 3 is expose yourself with other designers. Be a part or be involved in the community of designers, because one of the things that you will realize being exposed to the other designers is that they might know things that you do not know currently, and they might share that knowledge to you, and that would be really helpful or really useful for you in the future. And vice versa, you can have knowledge about some things that they do not know of currently, and then you can share it to them, and it's gonna be like a community that shares each other's knowledge about your same or your common field of interest. Ever since I was a kid, I was into arts and crafts. When I studied in college, that's where I decided to pursue the design industry. When I had my first job, that's where I was first exposed to the UI UX design industry. During that time, I wasn't really fully committed to the field yet, because at the time here in Manila, UI UX design wasn't really a big thing, because it was still more like the design industry was focused on printing materials, or more on the physical, or more on the things that we see from day to day, instead of the digital platforms. When the pandemic started, everyone started moving towards the digital world. That's where I kind of found my heart's desire to pursue UI UX design. So one of the things that I'm excited about for the Community App 3.0 version is the ability to connect, and not just have connection, but build relationship and grow together as professionals. Because for me, I think in the professional industry, I think that's important. Having a relationship with other professionals that would eventually be helpful for you to grow in your own field, in your own profession, and then also be able to help other professionals grow in their respective fields as well. So again, I'm Ivan Fornoles. I'm from Manila, Philippines, and I'm a UI UX designer with Schedule.